Speaking of great products, though, Chris, Ubuntu fans can rejoice today because Canonical has announced they have a new subscription-based Ubuntu Pro offering, and it's now available on AWS. Ubuntu Pro provides critical enterprise support out of the box, including things like security maintenance and hardening scripts. Just one click and you can run them. The idea is that you pull down the Ubuntu Pro image from the AWS Marketplace, then you launch it and it can connect you to the Ubuntu Pro Compute Service Plan that Canonical then will sell you to be able to provide all of the support and everything like that. The other thing that's important is that there's a lot of focus inside the distribution on things like federal standards like FIPS and a lot of other things. Given that, do you think that this is kind of designed for governments and other regulated industries to be able to jump on the cloud quickly, give them that quick on-ramp? And if so, how is Canonical going to make sure that people prefer to pay for Ubuntu as opposed to just downloading it for free?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think that you're right that this probably does have, the public sector right in their crosshairs, maybe financial sector as well, and being able to be compliant and have these security updates. It's really interesting. I think overall, this is super interesting to me. I know, when I first started working with open source platforms, 15, 20 years ago, really the only choice was CentOS and Red Hat. That was like the enterprise choice. Debian and anything on the APT track was all kind of, for fun and playing around with, at least from the folks I learned from. I'm sure I'm going to get some hate mail based on those statements. But, it's neat to see that Ubuntu is now at least claiming to be over 50% of Linux workloads in the public cloud and being the number one Linux for developers. Really, really awesome. It's neat to see that change. And then to see Canonical come in and add these, professional services or paid for services on top of Ubuntu is interesting, right? We haven't seen that necessarily in this scale before. And the fact that they're focusing on security really makes a lot of sense to me, right? I mean, the Red Hat model has definitely worked and we've seen that they got sold to IBM and that's, gone really well. But just repeating that would maybe not be the best choice. So seeing them really focus this from a security side. And again, it's not just the kernel and things they're securing, right? It's over 28,000 packages, right? So from Kafka to Nginx to MongoDB to Redis, PostgreSQL, a bunch of stuff is hardened through this packaging. As you mentioned, right? There's the FIPS 140-2 certified modules. There's tools for automating the CIS hardening. There's common criteria EAL2 provisioning packages. There's the DISA STIG profiles. So yeah, all those little things to work with the federal government or even state and local governments seem to be in place here, as well as just overall security. I know in my own personal experience, I've noticed that my Ubuntu distributions have started popping up in the APT when you're doing like an apt update or an apt upgrade. There's a little message that comes along and says, hey, you can get Canonical Pro services, which I'll be honest, I was a little annoyed by. But now after I dug into the news and saw this, it's pretty interesting. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so I think that's it. There's also, and on top of the security stuff, there is some optimized performance. Apparently, they do have an optimized kernel with an improved boot speed. It's supposed to have better runtime performance and then just overall advanced device support, as well as some portability, right? They've got mirrors all over the world to avoid just full-blown internet updates. So all in all, it looks like a really well thought out program. And it's exciting to see Ubuntu kind of take this leap forward in the commercial space.